Dummy Switch Pod.
Yes.
Much like your favorite URC team, we're back. How are you, Chris?
Oh, quarters could be better, but look, we can't complain. How's it going your side?
It's good. I almost my heart. The first half, they had us in the first half. I thought it was
Yeah,
that Benetton team that came from that gave the Bulls a hiding in the Rainbow
Bulls are
Cup. It
hiding.
was the
Yeah,
same. It was that team that we met, but yeah, we'll get on to that one. Let's start
Mm.
Stormers Leinster. Um, Basically, who's gonna win this tournament?
Yeah. Look, yes, that's what it is. But you know, Leinster is Leinster, but also Stormers.
Yeah, but
Also
even when the one
Stormers.
guy was saying a weakened Leinster team, but I don't know if there is such a
Ah,
thing. Even
Leinster
the
is Leinster.
arrogance to even say that, I don't.
Yeah.
It's true, but at the same time, it's leading with the ego.
Yeah, obviously because I think they've got pride in that their team is look, they're the business in this competition. We know that. I mean they've been on somewhat of a streak, but the Stormers good start. Lebok,
Mm.
he's just showing his class. But I think they just a few points short, to be honest,
Yeah.
in that first half. But the positive is that they keep they improving. If you look at their previous performances against Leinster, away,
Mm.
they're the standard bearer, the Stormers for South Africa, definitely.
They've seen, no, the Bulls can go over there and do a job, so
Mm.
we can also go over there and do a job. But like you said in the beginning, it was quite tight. I'd even say the whole first half was a bit of an arm wrestle there. It was even the try that Hartzenberg scored, it was defense. They they were meeting each other. They were meeting each other
Yeah,
for a lot of that game, even on their own pressing on Leinster's try line. Stormers were being it was a wall. They couldn't get through. So they were
yeah,
meeting each other for a while. Um for me, Hartzenberg, good follow-up line in one try. Then the
yeah.
Daimani situation, I think he could have run a better support line. I don't know. I'm no wing.
Yeah, but it was there because I mean Damani he's a pace man, and Hartzenberg is also a pace man, so definitely a better support line. So it could have been, but for me also, just that game, you could tell, man, there was a critical point there in the second half where there was a call that went against the Stormers where there was a previous transgression by Leinster and the officials didn't look at it, and Leinster went on to go score. It's things like that questionable calls that
Mm.
stop momentum of teams, and I guess hometown decisions, they also played a factor, but also Stormers not taking their chances completely when they were
Yeah.
on offer. For the most part in the first half, they did well, but again, there were those opportunities or moments. I think that's the one thing that stuck out for me is like moments,
Mm.
even in all the rest of the games over the weekend, it was just critical moments and, they just weren't there, but still a very good Stormers performance.
Yeah. Another takeaway: Herschel Yankees not going to the World Cup. I think we when you look at things like that box kick and you look at Grant Williams, I'm sorry, I just think that this is someone had a tweet saying that he's been in a bad patch of form for 3 years, and personally, I can't
Yo, 3 years is a long
disagree.
time. 3 years is a long time. That can't even be an excuse. 3 years? Yeah. Come on. Come on.
So yeah, I mean, even for me, Blomikis as well, it was good to see that he has been playing well for the Stormers. If you think
Mm.
about Kalant leaving, it was gonna be big shoes to fill, and he has filled them. In some ways, even you could say he's maybe playing better, but at the same time, that's maybe being a prisoner of the moment. But
Yeah.
he did have a Blomake's blunder, but he came back and he scored. He came back and he scored. So that's what you want to see. That's really what you want to see. Also for me, Libbok, there's a lot of talk about Libbok, rightly so. The thing that stood out for me the most was the meters that he made, the running meters.
Yes.
So you can talk about, oh no, he's not as tactical as Andre Pollard. Oh no, which is also, I don't know about that, but like meters made by foot when he's taking it to the line, he's not dying in the tackle. It's the guy is playing.
He's in his sweet spot, and when they're talking, okay, tactics or tactical is not as tactical. Who says running is not a tactic? If there's gaps and you could get into those spaces, and with the pace that he has at 10, he's definitely a threat. And you saw that. That first try, he was in such a confined space, but just because of his quick feet and his pace, he was able to get through almost untouched. So, look, if you're talking about it at international level, obviously there will be very few of those opportunities, but he's the guy right now, and other people, they need to be working hard to keep their spot, because it's up for grabs, so there's no as tactical as, because right now, if we are to be honest, who's the number 10 that's in form? The South African number 10, it's him. And he's capped, and he's shown in big moments that he can deliver, and we've seen, he's matured. So, long may it continue for Mani, man. Like he's going. In my view, he's going. If he doesn't go, I don't know, because this coming World Cup is not going to be won by the boot, tactical boot, and whatnot. Yeah, there's pressure moments, but looking at what we saw in the Six Nations and what it looks like, there's going to be a lot of running, and you're going to need to be able to run, because a lot of teams are going to look to run. I think, so Libbok is the guy.
He's the guy. Moving on to my guys, Lions versus Benetton. Like I said, it was that Rainbow Cup Benetton that showed up. They had us in trouble there.
Yeah, Lions were in trouble, but good recovery from them. It was a poor start initially. That first try, it was an easy giveaway. Chituka and Smith. I don't know what happened. It was very hard to tell. But Chituka came back. Those two tries, and he's that first try. He didn't start it, but he finished it off. That first try in that second half that started to come back for the Lions. But also for me, Ntlabakanye was very, very. He was immense in this game. In terms of his work rate, his impact. He's like one of the guys that just went under the radar, unsung. But again, that Lions loose trio, they're starting to look, comfortable.
Yeah, and Frankie Horn he's not a player that it's only until he came back that you start to realize how much impact he has on this team.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys that he disappears, then we start losing games, he comes back, we start winning games.
And it's almost like a Warren Whiteley 2.0, the way Definitely. that he plays, and the way he's able to link. But geez, even if you look at just that, the work rate of that loose trio, then of course, I was questioning Willem Alberts, in the game, because I was just like, okay, he's not the same bone collector as he was previously. Obviously, he's aged and all of that, and I was thinking, the Lions, surely they've got guys in their ranks that are younger, where they can, put the future on. But, as the game went on, you started to see more and more of his value, his impact, and that experience coming to, because, otherwise, that pack managed to turn things around for them. And then the back line, they doubly made sure to capitalize. They were
moving that ball. They were moving that ball.
And I'm loving Kieran Horn there at 15. For me, he's something. He's something for the Lions. So I think well deserved win for the Lions.
Well deserved. Even Ras, playing. We
Yeah,
highlight when players are playing badly, but we must
yeah,
also highlight when they're playing
yeah,
well. And I think
yeah,
Ras as well. He had his moments there, which is also good to see.
yeah. Look, and good on him. And dare I say this, because the Lions now they've backed it up. It's two big wins if you think about it in the context. They beat the Bulls away, then they've gone to Benetton. They've come from behind to come and win the game, away from home. If they look, I know it's close to the business end of the season, yes, for sure, but it's unfortunate that it is. But this is, I think it's a little too late, but it's the makings of something. If they can, keep the playing personnel sort of sharp at the point where they are right now and get them to look to get better. I think.
And add players. There has been speculation about guys. There's always guys that are gonna want to come back from Europe. Even guys that might have been Lions players in the past. They missed out on Jaco van der Walt, who's going to the Bulls. Maybe 10 isn't really where they were looking to boost the ranks, which I understand that. I understand we have sort of 2 10s. It's unfortunate Hendrikse is out. But in other areas, especially hooker, maybe we can look at an Eka van der Merwe coming back. Maybe, these are the types of players that you need to bring them. You need to bring them, and then it will elevate to the point where we are competitive on a regular basis.
Yeah, I think they need to get in some experienced guys, maybe guys that even if they weren't capped at Bok level, but just guys that are at that. And you said Aka van der Merwe. I think he's capped. As a Bok, I think he'd be a good acquisition back in. I think they need that sort of boost because you've got the backline. You can see with the backline with Nohamba there, pulling all the strings. Lombard is free. He can play. And Marius Lowe, he's doing a job there, 12, and he's leading them very well. You must admit. And it's just you can see that given the opportunity, given good ball, they can play that attacking brand of rugby. They just need, a few more little alterations. I think, especially maybe in the pack, just bring a bit more, some heavyweights in there, and they can be heading in a good direction. And maybe some also changes at the top. I'm just dare I say, but
we've management walking in places where they're not supposed to walk,
seeing
things they're not supposed to see.
Yeah, but, so those little things. I think you can see that it's not that these guys are bad players and they're not a bad team. It's just little ingredients that are missing, and they can actually move up from where they are, and start challenging.
It's a long season, and that needs to be taken into account. They're not just playing, 1 or 2 games. They need to build for that next season.
Exactly.
Moving on to the Bulls, Moody back, Arendse back. Again, you can say, yep.
Don't skip the Sharks. Are we leaving that for last?
Oh, sorry. No.
We're leaving that for last.
Yeah, let's leave. Let's actually leave the Sharks for last. Let's leave the Sharks. My mistake, but let's go on the Bulls.
It's okay.
Moody and Arendse back. Again, it's one of those things where Bulls haven't been getting the results.
Yeah.
You wonder how much of an impact these two can make, and then you see it immediately that they make that impact.
Yeah. They make the Bulls dangerous,
Yeah.
They make the Bulls dangerous. I think, maybe the only sort of issue with the Bulls back three, okay, at the moment, let's say Creel isn't really on form,
definitely.
He's not really on form. So
I think it was him. That first try, was it him that was caught out? But even there, they misread
the system. Yeah.
Cornel Hendricks was caught in between where he was basically marking no one. You've got Creel that was they were narrow. And then surely you have to know Mike Lowry is the guy that kills us.
Mike Lowry and the guys. Oh man.
surely you have to know. So I mean, it was a simple error.
Yeah, and I think it's also you look at that the way that the Bulls are playing. Okay, Moody and Arendse. I think without that try, without that try, just from my perspective, without that try, the Bulls were gonna be in for a very long evening, but then that gave them energy, to play. But overall, for me, the Bulls, they poor especially as a pack. They underperformers from when the Rainbow Cup came in, and even when URC started, from where they were and what they looked like they were about to become. Right now they underachievers. They're very poor, especially in the pack. And it's not, for me, it's not that it's every player in the pack. I mean, you saw, Escom, these performances started picking up. You can see the difference. You can see his experience. But it's almost as if you look at guys like, the supporting acts are not really.
Sometimes I feel like the player profile that they also get, they're getting certain players in that I feel like they're getting these guys because they're available, not because they're good fits. You've got guys that are more ball players, more running style of rugby, and then you want to play a more set, structured bully game.
Yeah.
It's not going to work. So I think that's where they're also being found out.
Yeah.
I mean, as well, for me, the biggest, like Moody coming back, I don't know what they do in that Bok camp, or I don't know how, he's maturing as a player, but like he comes back and he really looks like a Bok. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but like he comes back, it's like, and he looks even much older than what he is.
Yes, but that's what I mean when I'm talking about the pack of this. I think they're missing. I spoke about it even
someone like that.
Yeah, they like someone like that. Maybe even in the locking position. Because I mean, if you think about it, right? They lost. Nyakane is a Springbok. He's gone.
Yeah.
He's gone. They had a couple of boxes in there. To the guys that they've got in there, they're not making the team, or they're on the bench, and there isn't that real sort of X factor in the pack, or that that fear factor that the Bulls had, with their pack, the way that they were getting mauled, by Ulster. Like I say, if it wasn't for Kirtley and Moody, they were gonna be put away quite easily. But they kept him in the game. But the discipline of the Bulls, the decision making sometimes, But yeah, they still have a long way to go. And I still maintain, I think, fresh voices,
Yeah, fresh voices, and maybe, that's the thing. Even when coming around to Dwayne Vermeulen, he's on the other side now. And you're missing that kind of a player in the pack.
Yes.
So yeah, I think that's what it comes down to. Also, the TMO did kill them.
Hometown.
Yeah.
We know. I think by now we must know as South Africans, if we play in Europe, or, we must expect. Expect.
Especially Bismarck, I think his reputation there, they just
but that one, no, I'm sorry. That was absolutely a ridiculous call, because his left arm does clearly wrap. And if that's a maul, which it was, they're forming a maul, you driving. How many mauls have you seen where guys are going into each other's backs like that?
That was a yellow card for hurting Oaks. That was the reason.
But come on, and I mean, at that point, it looked, to be fair, at that point, it looked like the Bulls were still also hanging in there, and they could almost.
Yeah, they could. They were at that point where they could strike. That was the critical moment in the match.
Yeah, and it just didn't work out. But although for me, I still think they still, even with that, had they even gotten that win, it would have been on the back of, just them having that energy from those guys at the back. But that pack for me is still suspect,
Yeah, moving on to your boys, Welsh opposition versus Neil Powell and his mates, because it doesn't seem like they have a coach. They're just mates at the moment.
Yeah, look, the Sharks have got serious issues, because the way they're on and off is like they don't even know themselves, because at times you see with their pack how the power when it comes through. I mean, you've got Box in there, you know what I mean? You see that
that's
power
the thing where you would expect them to get it done because they're like, this is the A team, but they played like the B team.
They played absolutely poorly. The start was just, it wasn't a good start, And it's just, again, the discipline. But for me, still the thing is with the Sharks, the on and off nature of the season is just, I think it's testament to what has been happening. I mean, you change the coach mid-season, and the performances, they're going to be up and down. But again, with the quality of the pack that you have, it's really strange, how they're not able to, especially against Welsh opposition.
Yeah.
That's what makes it difficult to accept, is because it's like, no, man, no, come on, like even I'm gonna go out and say this, for me, I was watching, Werner Kok is a good player, but he's like Sinatla, in the sense that, great, excellent sevens players, no doubt, but 15s is just, even just looking at the Sharks back three, when you look at, they still, I still think they still need to, there's still a lot of evolution and growth that needs to happen before they can really start being serious, because they need to complement the artillery that they have, especially with those Boks. Otherwise, those guys are going to also go, as much as quickly as they got them in, they can quickly just be like, this is not working, and that's going to go back to, management at the end of the day, because of the results. Nothing more than that, but you can only hope that they can now start to sort of gel. You saw there's moments, individual players, the Boks that are the Boks, they're doing the things, but it's just the mixture in the pot is not right yet for the Sharks. And it's difficult to, it really is difficult to accept, especially Welsh opposition. No, man. No. It's inexcusable. There's no excuse, You can say, I won't lie, Bosch, I'll give this, current Bosch's defense is definitely improved. He's putting his body on the line. He's a bit more confident, to get into, to make the tackles. But just general from 10, there's nothing that seems to, it's not sparking nicely, there's, and you see, okay, Grant Williams comes in, there's that energy, it's there, Jaden's, but again, it's not cohesive. And like I say, they still need to have a bit more shake up there in the Sharks, and maybe we'll see a difference. But overall, URC for me, it's the Stormers. All of us must just support the Stormers.
Yeah, I won't lie. I think that's, I look at the results. At the same time, like, I'm not the Bulls results. I'm not too disheartened by the Stormers results as well. I'm not too disheartened by, and the Lions did well. It's just the Sharks this week that I feel. So as much as the results may say one thing, I don't feel like it was a bad week for SA Rugby. But I think we must all get behind the Stormers at this point.
Look, not a bad week for SA Rugby, for sure, right? But then when you're looking at just like the things that we mentioned in terms of the packs, and it doesn't look like with the Bulls pack, it's very hard to see where they're going to find that momentum where they can, canter in through to the end of the season. The Lions, their lock position dictates, where they're going to finish off. They're not going to be challenging anything. So that's understood. The Sharks as well. Yes, that pack is there, but then now it's that cohesiveness that's not there. They're not able to put it together and consistently for a full 80. Because if they do, the Sharks can really be a dangerous team. But right now they're not. Right now they're not. They maybe can be dangerous team, But for me right now, I'm lambasting. It's my team, so I can lambaste there. Right now, for me, no. It's not impressive. And the only ones, from a performance point of view, where we can see that, there is a continuous improvement, is the Stormers, if we're being honest, overall.
Yeah.
And they're maintaining that standard. They're the only ones that seem to be getting that balance right, So, that's why I say what I say. It's just, the season's ending now. Knockouts are coming, so Stormers for me.
Yeah, it's a bit of a break. The URC is back on I think it's the 14th. Any closing remarks, Chris?
Look, I think there's a lot of improvement needed overall. Especially leading up to the World Cup. Look, Gerard, I think we're gonna get it. We're gonna get, if we're not careful, just as SA Rugby, we're gonna get a smack. You know, at the World Cup. If we're not careful, we need to. You know, time is moving, and you know things are starting to move. So yeah, there must be big improvements all around.
Yeah, that's it from us. Thanks for watching.